His name was Robert, aged 53, veteran, homeless for 6 years. On November 3, 1977, he accomplished something. Desperate, he spent his last $8 on a Tonight Show ticket. For 2 hours, he sought a comfortable, cheerful environment without yelling or being seen as invisible. Not because he was a Johnny Carson fan. He wanted to relive the feeling of being human. Robert didn't want attention. He sat in the back attempting to disappear. Midway through the show, a camera captured an unexpected event in the audience. The homeless man watched Johnny Carson with tears in his eyes, feeling hopeful. Johnny observed the monitor, Robert, and the pain. In that moment, Johnny took a decision that cost NBC thousands, violated every protocol, and demonstrated the importance of stopping everything to see someone who had been overlooked. November 3, 1977, a Thursday night in Burbank, California. As usual, The Tonight Show was filmed. Johnny was on fire. The monologue killed. The audience enjoyed it. Everything was running smoothly. Robert Mitchell sat in row 12, seat 7, as far back as possible to be unseen. After showering at a shelter, he donned clean clothes, a donated suit jacket that didn't fit, short pants, and shoes with hidden holes. He had saved for 3 weeks to buy the ticket. $8. He gathered every cent from strangers who normally ignored him. The ticket was not for celebrity viewing. It wasn't about Johnny Carson's humor. Simpler was the case. Robert sought warmth, cleanliness, and a place with laughter rather than screams. For 2 hours, he sought to recall typical feelings. Robert Mitchell wasn't always homeless. He was an entirely different person 6 years prior. He had served in Vietnam. 2 tours resulted in medals, nightmares, and invisible injuries. Early on, PTSD was not a recognized diagnosis. The van diagnosed adjustment issues and prescribed ineffective medications. Despite his efforts to settle down and work in a factory, his dreams worsened. The flashbacks began during the day. He was at work when he suddenly found himself in the bush where someone was dying, and he couldn't stop it. His wife departed, unable to see his breakdown. The factory released him for missing too many days. The medicines ran out, and he couldn't afford more. The descent was faster than expected. After losing his job, residence, car, and family, Robert found himself sleeping under a freeway overpass with a rolled-up jacket as a cushion. Duration: 6 years. 6 years of invisibility. People viewed him as a ghost. Store owners advised him to leave. Kids threw. Police woke him up at night and informed him he couldn't sleep there. Despite having no other options, the toughest aspect wasn't hunger or cold. He felt invisible, like he had become a hassle to avoid and a thing to step around. Until November 3, 1977, when Robert attempted to regain human emotions. Robert found entering the studio easier than anticipated. After cleaning up, he waited in line with other ticket holders. The security guard scarcely noticed him. Inside, the studio was warm, bright, and clean. The seats were comfy. The air smelled like hairspray and coffee, not rubbish or exhaust. After taking his seat, Robert felt something he hadn't felt in years. Relief. The show began. Johnny has emerged. The audience applauded. Robert felt like a mere person in a crowded room for the first time in 6 years. I am not homeless, a veteran, or a problem. I am simply watching TV. He didn't realize he was crying until the woman next to him removed her purse. At that point, Robert understood. He still looked and smelled odd. The shower was insufficient. My rented suit didn't fit properly. People around him felt uncomfortable. They could tell he didn't belong. Robert attempted to shrink and vanish. But tears persisted. The feeling of being warm, protected, and almost human again, even for a few 2 hours, was overwhelming, not sad tears. Johnny made jokes while interviewing an actress Robert didn't recognize about 30 minutes into the broadcast. The audience laughed. Camera 2 pans slowly across the audience. Standard operating procedure. Display individuals smiling, laughing, and having fun. Create a sense of belonging among family members. As the camera approached row 12, the operator noticed something that caused him to hesitate. A man weeping, unhappy tears, deep and terrible. He appeared out of place, but was captivated by the stage performance. The director observed it in the control room. Hold the camera for a bit, and Johnny, known for monitoring the monitors throughout interviews, noticed it, too. He saw Robert. Really saw him. Johnny stopped speaking mid-sentence. The actress seems bewildered. Ed McMahon looked worried. Pardon? I need a moment, Johnny remarked to the actress. He then stood up and left the stage. The crowd was unaware of the situation. The actress was unaware of the situation. NBC officials in the control room clearly had no idea what was happening. Johnny climbed the audience steps to row 12 and approached Robert. He took the unoccupied seat next to him. Johnny said, "Hey there, gently. You okay?" Robert was unable to speak and struggled to comprehend that Johnny Carson was sitting next to him and speaking to him as a person. "What's your name?" Johnny asks. The speaker identified himself as Robert Mitchell. "Robert, nice name. You veteran, Robert?" Robert nodded. "Vietnam 2 tours." Johnny nodded slowly. "I appreciate your service." For years, Robert had not heard those 5 simple words, which made him cry harder. The audience fell silent. The cameras found them. Live on national television. 18 million people witnessed this moment occur. "I have a question, Robert." Johnny's voice was soft. "What brings you to the show tonight?" Robert attempted to justify spending his last $8 for a ticket. "He simply want warmth and happiness in a nice environment. I just wanted to feel normal again, Robert. Just briefly." Johnny regarded Robert, stared at him. The ripped clothes, wrinkled face, and worn eyes were evident. "You are normal, Robert. You are a man who has served his country and is facing challenges. I'm as normal as it gets." Johnny then performed an unexpected action. He stood and presented Robert his hand. "Please join me on stage for a moment." Johnny led Robert on the Tonight Show stage in front of cameras, crowd, and 18 million viewers at home. NBC execs were having a mental breakdown in the control room. This was unscheduled. This was unplanned. Homeless man on stage. This was chaos. Johnny didn't care. Robert was seated on the couch where movie stars, presidents, and renowned entertainers shared their stories. Johnny treated Robert Mitchell like a VIP guest during the interview. Johnny asked about Vietnam. Robert initially spoke haltingly, then freely about the war, returning home, challenging adjustment, and losing everything. Johnny listened attentively, asked follow-up questions, and treated Robert with the same respect as other guests. "Where are you staying now?" Johnny asks. "Wherever I can," Robert replied truthfully. "Under the freeway mostly," saying that's not right. Johnny said, "Our veterans should not be treated this way." Although the audience cheered, it wasn't performative. It was true. People were crying due of seeing something new. A discourse between 2 people, no pretension, lack of performance. 8 minutes. That was Robert's stage time. An 8-minute delay cost NBC thousands in production time. 8 minutes that broke every television protocol. 8 minutes that changed Robert's life. During the commercial break, Johnny continued to speak with Robert privately. "Robert, please stay after the show to resolve this issue." And Johnny meant it. Once the taping ended, Johnny took Robert to his dressing room, phoned his assistant, and made some calls. Within an hour, Johnny booked Robert a comfortable hotel with a bed, shower, and clean clothing. However, Johnny continued. At the van, he leveraged his celebrity connections to bypass bureaucratic hurdles and enroll in programs he had been seeking for years. "We offer mental health care, job training, and housing aid." Johnny silently paid for it. Not to the press. Avoided becoming a publicity stunt. "I assisted a man in need." "I'm not helping you," Johnny told Robert that night. "I'm completing tasks expected 6 years ago." The Tonight Show episode aired as planned. NBC was unable to remove the Robert part. The event occurred live. Additionally, the audience response was overwhelming. The switchboard illuminated. Thousands called. Many wanted to know how to help. Organizations made contact. Veterans, homeless shelters, and normal folks were inspired by what they witnessed. Robert became a symbol of humanity, not homelessness, and how one individual can change everything by seeing another. Most importantly, Robert was helped. Real aid. Van programs facilitated by Johnny were effective. The mental health treatment addressed his PTSD. The job training resulted in employment. Within 6 months, Robert had an apartment, job, and life. He kept in touch with Johnny, writing him letters every Christmas for 20 years, thanking him for his help and for treating him as a human being at a time when others ignored him. The night altered Johnny, too. Johnny shifted his focus from Robert to the audience, staff, and those who made his act possible but were not recognized. He altered his platform usage, raised awareness of veterans, homelessness, and mental health issues. He gently used his influence to help without being overt. Many years later, Johnny was asked about the Robert Mitchell episode, including why he halted the performance and risked the commotion. Johnny's response was straightforward. Since he was present and needed to be seen, I had the authority to do so. What else should I do? Robert Mitchell survived for 30 years after that November night. Remarried, had grandchildren, and aided veterans in navigating the VA system as a counselor. He never forgot Johnny's assistance. It's not about money or connections, but simply sitting next to someone and asking their name. Quote, Johnny gave me my life back, Robert. Years later, not because he provided a job or housing, but because he valued my conversation and made me feel valued. You forget that while destitute, you think you're invisible. Johnny showed I wasn't. Johnny died in 2005. Despite being too ill to attend the funeral, Robert submitted a letter read at the memorial service. Johnny Carson paused his show to greet me while no one else did. He saw me when I was invisible. He valued me even if I no longer believed in myself. He saved me. He did it because he believed that was what humans do for one another, not because he had to. Here's what people miss about November 3rd, 1977. It wasn't noteworthy that a celebrity assisted a homeless person. Rich individuals consistently assist the needy, sometimes for genuine reasons, sometimes for publicity. It was unique because Johnny paused everything. During a live broadcast with millions watching, Johnny stopped, sat next to a person being ignored, and spoke to them like they cared despite production schedules and commercial breaks. That's the lesson. Seeing someone is more important than later generosity. We inhabit a world where people are constantly invisible. This includes the homeless man on the corner, the janitor cleaning your office, and the meal server. Our gaze moves past, through, and around them. We all get caught up in our own lives and overlook those around us. Johnny Carson learned a valuable lesson from Robert Mitchell that night. He imparted valuable knowledge to us. Seeing someone, not simply looking at them, is a great gift. There is no cost. It doesn't need fame or influence. Simply stop, gaze, and ask someone's name. Robert spent his last $8 to regain his humanity. Johnny provided these benefits and more by treating him with value. Robert Mitchell passed away in 2007, 2 years after Johnny. His obituary highlighted his military service, work, veteran assistance, and family. However, the first line read, Robert Mitchell, the man Johnny Carson halted the Tonight Show for, died quietly. That is his legacy, not the struggle or homelessness, but the ability to be seen and assisted by someone with power. And Johnny's legacy, it goes beyond thousands of interviews and decades of laughter. This 8-minute talk with a homeless veteran teaches Americans the importance of seeing each other. Taking a moment to notice the person in front of you can be crucial. Robert required attention. Johnny was brave to see him. They reminded us of humanity for 8 minutes on national television. If you were moved by this tale, please subscribe to our channel. Share this with someone who needs to realize that everyone matters. Share an instance when someone spotted you when you felt invisible or took time to see someone else. Stay updated with stories about human moments by hitting the notification bell. Our ultimate goal is to find what Robert was seeking that night. To stay warm, safe, and visible.